Those Aboriginal officers aren't the only ones facing cutbacks. The federal government is actively looking at ways to trim the nearly $12 billion that is spent on policing across the country. A team of MPs is set to travel to California and England to explore how they're cutting back. But as Global's Vashy Capellos reports, some argue the trip isn't necessary and sets a double standard.
Dig deep into this year's federal budget, and buried on page 263 is a directive. In the spirit of safeguarding the public purse, the government is putting the squeeze on travel for bureaucrats, cutting it by 5% or $43 million, asking the public service to use video conferencing instead. For politicians, though, it's a different story. Just a day after the budget was passed, a big trip for MPs was given the green light. 6 members of the Public Safety Committee will go to both California and England to study the economics of policing. The trip is set to cost about $174,000, down $100,000 from an original estimate. But just 2 months ago, the government hosted a national summit on the same subject with experts from the U.S. and England in Ottawa.
Well, I would like to have been invited to the summit, as would all the members of the committee. No members, Conservative, Liberal or New Democrat, were allowed to attend the summit.
We've never said that they can't attend any conference.
Apparently they were told they weren't allowed to go to the one in Ottawa.
Either way, all members of the committee decided more research needed to be done.
But even if more research was needed, why not follow the government's own advice and do it by using video conference?
We actually do decide whether or not we can learn as much as we can through video conferencing, or whether we do have to make those necessary trips to see those things firsthand, so that when we deploy them, they're actually effective.
This is standard business, standard practice. There's nothing unusual. There's nothing for you guys to get excited about.
This public service advocate is wondering why there's 2 sets of standards.
Well, I think it goes back to the accountability of government. You can't. What's good for the goose should be good for the gander.
In this case, it appears it isn't. Vashy Capellos, Global News.